Hey everyone, it's Jennifer, and I am back with some Silhouette Studio basics. Um, I put a request out there to some Facebook groups that were beginners and didn't really know how to use the machine or the studio, the software. So I wanted to start out with basics, and today we're going to do fonts and talk about fonts, okay? As you can see, I'm running Business Edition. If you see something that you do not have for your edition, that is because you either have free or something lower. I believe working with fonts, it's on every single edition, but I'm not sure. So we're going to start off, where is the fonts located? Or how do you write text? Okay. And to start out, you'll go to the left panel and you'll go to this A. That is your font text tool. You'll have this I for a mouse scroll or pointer. I'm sorry, pointer. That means it's in text mode. And then now you can click and create your text. So I'm gonna just click on my screen, my left button click. I have a Mac, so but it'll be a left button click for any mouse. And we're just gonna type some text like "Hello, y'all." I'm Southern. You'll probably hear a y'all out of me quite a bit. And I'm a little country. So now say you want to change the font. There's two different ways you can do this. You can change it up on the top once you have your, like if you don't have your text selected, it's not going to show up in the, up here at the, on the top. So you have to select your text and then you'll get these options that come up with what do you want to do with it to this text. And the first one is going to be, well, what font style? What's the name of the font you want to use? My Mac automatically sends it to Lucida Grande. So, you know, I can go down here and I have a lot of, I don't have a lot, but a lot of these are system fonts, and I've downloaded and purchased fonts for future use. So right now I've been using KL Simple Sunday. And so it changed it automatically. You can also change the size. That doesn't really matter, especially if you change it to a path. And I'll tell you why. If you drag it out, you know, it's going to automatically change up here. So if you change it back to 78, there's and a lot, bold and italic are hard coded, which means I cannot select them, which probably means that this font doesn't have that option. Right. This font doesn't have the option for bold or italicize. It does have the options for underline. And then this is your alignment of how you want your text. Say, if I typed y'all out on the second bar, second row, get rid of that space. It's lined up to the left. That's how it's up here. So if I hit center, it's going to center the text. If I want it to line up on the right-hand side, you would hit that, the right-hand one where it's all aligned on one right-hand side, or justify, which I would want it in the center if I was probably doing something. Okay, this tool right here, the next one is the alignment. That's by word. Whoops. Or I don't even, will it tell me what I call it's another alignment tool. It is the one that's on the left hand side, which is the transform panel. This is where you can align it horizontally on the left, the right, or the middle. You can align it vertically on the bottom, the top, or the middle as well. The next one is the center to the page, which means center. It'll go to the center of my 12 by 12 map because that's what I have set up over here for my design area setup, okay? If I was to change it down to letter size, and that red box is the cut border, okay? which means that's how big my material is. It's telling me, hey, you told me this is how big it is, even though we're using a cutting mat. So if I center it, then it's in the center of my 8.5 by 11 media. Okay, so we're going to change it back to auto 12 by 12. That's center of the page. Okay, and then this one is ungroup. The one I just clicked, it was really fast, was the 2 squares. One was separate from the other. That's the ungroup, the every single letter. So at that point, I just turned it into a path, because once you ungroup it, you'll get nodes. If you double click on the letters, you'll get nodes, okay? So I'm gonna actually go back, because that's not what I wanted to do, because I wanted to start simple. If you double click on it and you have this transform box come up for text, you're still in text mode, okay? And then the other ones are send to the front, send to the back, send forward, send backward. This is a, that was a weld. This is weld. This is offset it. That's duplicate it if you wanted to duplicate it. And then the X, which means close, delete it all together. Okay. So this font doesn't, I don't think it has any glyphs, or they'll call them glyphs, they'll call them extras, ligatures sometimes. So to find out if your font has that stuff, and sometimes it doesn't work for me, so I have to use something else. We're going to go to the right-hand panel to this A with the I for the mouse, which says open the text style panel. Okay, this is where you have a lot of some of the stuff from the top is in here, but there's some other stuff like turning your text sideways or vertical and horizontal and everything like that. There's line spacing, and what that is it's the space between the hello and the y'all. So if I start moving that down, the y'all starts going toward the hello. Okay, you saw that. Character spacing. Character spacing is the spacing between each letter. So right now it's set at 100%, which means it's set correctly, I guess you could say. So if you wanted to expand that, you would move up, and you can see how the letters are getting further apart. If you wanted to decrease it, you would just take it down past 100. Right there's 95. Like say if you wanted to weld the letters together for some odd reason. That would be a way to do that without actually having to manipulate the whole letter. Okay, so at the top of our text style panel, you have the A with the you have the text style. The G is going to be glyphs, and then the ABC check is obviously spell checker. Okay, so if you go under glyphs, and then we go, it should have had I don't know why I didn't have it checked. Okay, there we go. This is showing you everything that you can use for Simply Sunday is what this font's called. And all of it looks like it's basic stuff. There's some with the asterisks over the letters. And then there's some that are like together, like if you needed a word with AE, how it's together. This one doesn't really have a lot of this swirly slashes. So let's change this font to one that I know that has them. Whoops. And it's going to be Samantha. And I have to scroll down. Or Lavenderia. Lavenderia has glyphs. So usually script fonts will have some sort of swashes and lashes is what I call them. So like here's an A that you can use. And all you would do, let's see if they have an H. They have that H is the one I'm using. So the O. Let's see if we have an O, a lowercase o to use. These are the ones at the top are usually the main ones, as if you were to type the word out or the letters out. You scroll down and you should find more extras. And I'm not seeing an O one that's different. besides the normal ones. So say, this is a bad example. Let's go to Samantha. Should have stayed with Samantha in the first place. And it's called Samantha Upright. It's a very popular script font with everyone that crafts. I get down to the S's, sorry. Okay, see that spaced it out tremendously, and it's still at 100 for my line spacing. So we're just going to move it up. Let's go down a little bit. Okay, so let's see about changing this Y under the glyphs. I know this one. See how small the scroll is? To scroll down, there's a lot. So we've got a Y. Let's see if we can find a Y. See all of these swashes and lashes is what I say. I think I'm in the lowercase. Let's go up. See if we can find an uppercase. I think literally every letter of the alphabet is in there as far as having extras, which is nice. All right, here we go. So you could, right here we could pick a different Y, and of course it did my H instead of my Y. Okay, so all you have to do if you want to change a letter in it is just select the letter when you're in this text with the green box around it and the navigation arrows. And you just select the letter you need and then just go to whichever one you want to change it to. So if I didn't like that, I'd change it. I could change it to something else. For some reason, it's like I could pick that Y. I could pick any letter in there as long as it's still in this text format and change to add one of these with the swirlies and the swashes and stuff like that. Flourishes, all of those things, okay? So that's part of the glyphs and how to get them. My silhouette wasn't showing everything as far as under glyphs for Lavenderia. I don't know if it was still acting up, so I had to use an outsourced program if I've used it. I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know if there is a way to fix it. So, okay, so what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you how to curve this text. And we're going to actually put it all on one row again. Okay? And how you curve it is you have to put it on a path. So, I'm going to go to the fifth one down, which is the drawing tools, and I'm going to select the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold, to make a perfect shape, square, circle, you hold down shift while you're drawing, you hold down your left mouse button, and you just drag it out. Hold your shift when you let go of your button, or it'll not make a perfect circle or square, okay? So I'm going to let go of my button, and now I'm going to let go of my shift key, okay? And my settings are where the last color or whatnot that I use, it'll fill it. So we're going to actually turn the color off for the circle. And to do that, you go to the open the fill panel, which is the third one on the right, and we're going to hit the transparent. Not the white, the transparent, because I want to be able to see through it. I want to be able to see where my text is at on this line, okay? I'm going to zoom in so y'all can see it a little bit better. And now what you can do is this arrow, this arrow circle over here, you can move it around. If you hold your left button down, you can move it around. And if you get to this shape, it'll automatically go around the circle, okay? And then there's a little slider that shows up, and you can go down to put it inside. You can go further up and it takes it further apart and away from the circle, okay? So if you wanted it like right on it, it's right there. And there's a little notch right there to tell you, hey, that's where the middle is. Or that's where it sits on the line, okay? Now, to leave that, to be able to leave that like that, because if you move the circle, or if you delete the circle, oops, hang on. If we delete the circle, the text goes back to normal, to a straight line. So what you need to do is you need to convert your text to a path if this is what you want, okay? It's the same with any type of transformation you do to the text. If you weld it, if you offset it, I do believe. I think maybe the offset doesn't do it, but we'll check that in a minute. When you need to convert it to a path to keep it curved, okay? So you would right click it, convert to path. Now you see how the circle, it turned a different color. And now it wasn't, I think it was gray on the line, and it changed to black. That means it's now just by itself. And now we can delete that shape and move it. And your text is now a shape. So when you double click it, possibly, it's not working. Usually you can click it and get the nodes, but it's not working like that for that, probably because it's curved like that. Okay, so I just showed you how to put text on the top of the circle. How do you get it on the bottom without it flipping upside down and reading improperly like it is now? Okay, even if you move the little zoom, the little scroll to the middle, it still doesn't flip it. So you need to get it on the inside of the bottom of the circle, and it's easier if you start in the middle of the circle and pull down toward the bottom of the circle, and then it'll catch where it needs to, which will be on the inside, reading properly. Now you can use your adjustment slider bar if you wanted to move the text to the outside, which would be the letters would separate a little further. If you wanted it to read properly like it does for the top. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to retype out some again. Hello, y'all. We're going to take our mouse and highlight it. Now you can start at one end and hold Shift, Command, or Control, and the over. No, that's not what you can hold. Shift, Control, and End, but I don't have End on here. So I'll hit the down arrow, and it selects all of it, all of the text. And then we're going to go to our same text again, which was Simply Sunday, KL Simply Sunday. The person that makes, there's a couple of people that put their initials in the beginning of their text, so you can always find them. Alrighty, so we've got this text, and if you double click, it's in text mode. We're going to we're going to offset it, and you can use the offset star at the top, or you can use the offset star at the side, okay? The offset star at the top I haven't really used before, so okay, it opens up the same box. So you can see around the text, the outline is 0.125 inches of an offset. This will touch and be bubbly. If that's what you want, that's fine. What I would recommend is playing around with it. Now, if I zoom in or make any changes to my screen, it's going to automatically keep this offset unless I hit cancel and then zoom in and come back to the offset panel. So I'm going to just hit apply, and I'm going to move my text, and you can see that that's what it's going to look like. Now, if you don't want these middle pieces to cut out, just double click on it, and it brings up the edit node. Point editing is what they call it. And you can go in here and click on one of them, hit delete. As long as it's selecting the same one, keep hitting delete, which it should, as long as it's on that inner circle, inner hole. Okay. So I did that. If that's how you want it to look, you can even delete the ones down here at the Y where it just, this will automatically just go over, and at the H, it'll just have a hump like this. All right. So, okay. So when you offset, it still keeps your text as text. So say you wanted to go in and offset it. See, I even hit the wrong button sometimes. Just a little bit. You would, and you don't want them to be touching. Mine goes, I click fast, so mine constantly goes down. It's probably going to go to 0. Yep. So we're going to go up. And since this font is kind of bubbly, I use the rounded, not the square sharp corners. I use the rounded corners, and you can hit apply. So that if you need to make the font a little thicker, you just go down a little bit. If you need to make it thicker, maybe to cut it with vinyl, maybe it's not cutting right, or cardstock, you can make a font thicker that way. So say you're wanting to line up images, and I do this a lot when I make stickers. Okay, and this is text, and the text box has a bigger outline than a regular. I'll just do this. I'm going to take this hello y'all, and I'm going to convert it to a path. See how the box around it, the bordering box or selection box got smaller than the text? I don't know why it does that, but it's just odd like that. So like if I was to line these up, a line in the middle, it's going to align properly. But if I align it at the bottom, you see how it changed? They should be lined up at the same place, correct? Well, if you have that problem when you're, if you're working with text and you're trying to get your text in like another shape to meet at the bottom, and it's not meeting at the bottom, that's why, because you have to change that text to a path in order to get it properly aligned with another object. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've missed with text. I'm sure there is. This is just the simple basics. With text, with anything really, you can change the line style. So I'm going to zoom in on it. And right now I think the line is blue, which matches the outside. If you need to know that, go under the line style on the right hand panel, which is a dotted line, a straight line, a thicker straight line, and it's the same color. So we could change it to black if we wanted to. And then we go to the first one, which is line style, line patterns, and options. And we can change the style, but we're going to leave it there, and we're just going to thicken it up, okay? You see how it's changing? Okay. Now there's a couple different options. When you start getting to a thicker like that, you can put it to the, when using thick lines, put the shape behind, put the shape outline behind the shape, or the position when using thick lines puts the shape outline in front of the shape. Depends on, excuse me, what you're trying to achieve. But when it comes, if I wanted a thicker line, I don't want this. I want it behind my blue. And then the end caps is how it goes around the font or text, how it goes around your path or shape. It's not text anymore because we changed it. So if you want to do, I don't really know if it changes for this, but it'll change for like a more squared off. And then if you didn't want that line to be a solid line, we could change it to dotted. And you can just change it down to a thinner, littler one like that. You can change, you know, there's a couple options in here for which one you can do for that. I haven't really worked with line pattern, but I do know it's kind of like whichever one you pick, you'll see the change on the screen. So that's how you can put, you can do the line coloring on text as well. Now, my tip when you're working with fonts and you change them to paths, I do it with planner stickers because I want my text to match where I'm aligning it to properly. So I'll convert it to paths. I'll come over here and write a sticky note out on the gray. I'll put a sticky note reminding me what text I used, and I usually use the same text in a kit. So I'll put on here which text it was, or font, I'm sorry, which font it was. So it's KL Simply Sunday. Simple Sunday. Simple Sunday. So that way when I close this out and I bring it back up, I'm not sitting here racking my brain trying to figure out what font I had used, because all I have to do is look at my sticky note and it's there. Okay. So, that's a good tip for you, for everyone, if they didn't know that. And that way it's out there. I think it can be edited now if you have 4.4 edition or software and up. If you don't, I had problems with the earlier versions of Silhouette Studio not saving, well, it was saving them, but I couldn't go in and edit them. I couldn't move them. I couldn't resize them. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even edit what was on the sticky note. Now you're able to do that. So I hope this has helped you learn a little bit about fonts. I just wanted to throw a simple basic video for you. If you want, I don't know. Let's go to the internet, because I'm thinking we're going to look at the Silhouette chart. And this is this should sell you on owning business. If you have the free edition, you're playing with it till your machine gets in, or you're just playing with it until you can get a Silhouette Cameo or a Silhouette machine. This is why I recommend getting Business Edition right off the bat. In here, it's right now $100. I paid half of that. I paid like $60, I think. Swing Design has it for $48 right now. So it's really cheap. If you have a designer edition to upgrade to business, it's a different price. But I do know to go straight from basic to business, it's $48. I don't know if they charge tax. It's electronic. They'll send you an electronic code. It is legit. I bought mine from Swing Design. So you can do a fairly good amount of stuff in basic. You can cut by line or fill color, which is what I do a lot of. That is usually how I cut. I do not use simple. Simple is not simple to me. Simple is confusing. And if you cut by line color, if I was going to send, and right here's the line, I've only got one color in here, which is black. If I had multiple things, they're in different colors, there'd be multiple different colors. But I usually turn my color of my line off, transparent, unless it's the line I want to cut. That is the easiest way for me to remember, and that way I don't have any mess ups. So you can use, of course, you can create designs and send to Silhouette. Basic Designs and Text Tools, they have videos here you can watch to see what you can do. You can there's manipulation tools, modification tools, cut by line or fill color, font access, and that's what we just went over. You can import JPEG, BMP, and PNG files in Basic. You can trace in Basic. If you bring an image in, that's for something. If you bring an image in later on, you'll use the trace method if it's not traced already. Image effects like black and white, tint, and color saturation you can use. You can obviously use print and cut. You can use a pick scan. There's library storage for you. Object on path. Offsets available. Stipple is only a Curio and Cameo 3. Probably Cameo 4 as well. I'm not sure what that is. Embossing, it says for Curio only. You can use sticky notes, which we just used. A pop-up creator. That is like if you make a pop-up card, that's how you can do it, and they show you it's in here. You can color your fonts in basic. You have print bleed option, and you can use commercial font indicator in basic, and that's it. You do not get any of the remaining stuff in this list, okay? Now, there is a couple things that sold me on business, which was exporting SVGs, because I was a Cricut user, and SVGs was the easiest for me because I hated cleaning up in their software. I hated it. It is annoying for me. I never got clear lines or nothing. Okay? You can't use media layout view in basic. The only media layout view I'm fixing to show you is only available in business edition. So what that is on my screen, it's where this arrow is. I think it might be this one. No, that's the rhinestone panel. I hit the little arrow, and it's the first one with like the triangles and stuff. What that does is I can split this up, and it'll show me the media side, and it'll show me, it's going to show me how it's going to cut and everything like that. So the first one is page setup. The next one is, do you want to copy it? Maybe I want 3 rows of hey y'all. Maybe I want 3 columns of hey y'all. Can't do 3, so I have to go to 2. And then it's separation. It's just how far apart are they. That's all that is. So if you don't want them that far apart, just change it to 0 and then go down a little bit. It's like a 1/4 inch apart. That's a pretty good distance. The next one, let's move this over here, is nesting, which it's going to put it the closest possible to save, I guess, on material. I'm not really sure. I've never really used this side of it. But I just know it exists. That way you don't have to go to the send panel all the time. Now, how do I get out of that? To get out of it, you can just pull your screen back and it'll take you back. Why it's not showing my mat, I don't know. Because I had my mat on here and it says Cameo. Maybe that's a glitch. Let's see. There we go. I guess it's a glitch. So, or not a glitch. I had to turn it off. I'm sorry. But that's how the media layout would work. Instead of having to go to the send panel, you could automatically just see, and then you could automatically use that to make your copies instead of duplicating and stuff like that. But that's only a business edition feature. So I highly recommend, if you're not 100% sold, just go through here, go to Silhouette's website and click these videos, and it'll take you straight to a video and that's explaining how to use it. The knife set is really nice to have too, because if you're wanting to split something, you can't do it in basic. So like if I wanted to split this in half, maybe I want to make not a knockout, but I want to split it in half. I could, well, I just did it. Hang on. Okay, shoot, I did it again. When I click the knife, I'm going to click auto apply. Uncheck auto apply. And then we're going to go to solid, line, and straight. There's a couple different knives you can use in here. So if I want to do a straight line and I want to cut this, and then I wanted to zoom in, and maybe I want that line thicker. You cannot paste this back together, trust me. It doesn't work. So if I wanted my line thicker, I would hit auto apply, and it'd make it thicker. So you can't put it back together once you do that. I mean, you can hit undo, but once you have that knife sliced through there, there's no putting them back together unless you go to undo. So that's the knife tool. That one's pretty handy. But if you have any questions on how to use fonts with on text to path and stuff like that, curving it and all, or maybe making it a swirl, you can do all sorts of stuff. The possibilities are endless when it comes to doing that. You can send me a email. It's in the About section of my YouTube channel. There are some people, if you're in a Silhouette group, you've probably seen me. You can send me a message on Facebook. Anything to help y'all out. I hope this was helpful for you all. Helpful for you. And until next time, have a great evening.